Muribwanji. Welcome back to the Be Official Podcast. I'm your host, your guy, Paul Payne 837, and it's such a good feeling to be here, man. Though this is my second take, this is like me doing this for the second time, man. The first time I did it wasn't recording, man. And that was like 30 minutes done. Yeah, man. These hustles of a creator, man. It's crazy, but shows how much dedication I have for you guys, man. I just have to show up for you, man, and just bring you these conversations to you, straight to you, so that you can partake and just have 2 or 3 things you can pull out from the conversations that these gens are having, man. Shout outs to Chandambao, shout outs to Critic, shout outs to Young Verbal, shout outs to Z Flashback, shout outs to Chililemba. These are really conversations that ought to be had, you know. So I'll put I want to react to everything. I just don't want this thing to be whole long and stuff. I'll put the link in the description so that you can go and watch the full interview to the video be reacted to, you know. So I hope you guys are ready, especially for the artists, man. This is especially for the artists. At least there are gems that were dropped in here, and for the listeners too, you know, so that you can support the artists that are putting out content, who are putting out the music that they're creating, you know, so that they can have your support back, you feel me, so that we can hit the international standards, all kind of stuff. So this will be interesting, you know. This will be interesting. I pray that you open your ears very wide, you know. Listen, don't just come here to criticize, but listen, pay attention, be attentive, you know what I'm saying. If you're watching me on YouTube, please leave me a like, drop me a comment, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on Facebook, please leave me a comment to, you know, follow the page. Spotify, if you're listening to this, Google Podcasts, wherever please gotta follow for more interesting and you know, important conversations. So today, let's dive deep. They're calling this rapping in English, you know, an African hip-hop conversation. But this can apply to each and everybody, you know what I'm saying? So let's dive deep. Let's listen to the gents' conversations. All right, go.
Weight on your shoulders, bro. That sounds like you, bro.
No, this was a guy. He was a small guy, like a guy. Yeah. But yeah, like you're saying, the risks.
Yeah, because I mean, based off that, I mean, that's the reason why I was saying I'm in the presence of the elite, because I know 2-1 did what you guys did, but even on an individual basis, I know K-Star used to crush it.
Yeah.
In freestyles, like ciphers. So did you. So there's like a backdrop of like preparation before you could actually get to a point and say, no, I'm gonna take this risk and do that. For example, when Chanda dropped like the different waves, that's what I call them, when they dropped the different
when
waves.
The waves came through.
You know what I mean? When the waves came through, I mean, he was doing things like a lot of people didn't think was possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the honest truth. Because I mean, he was getting like big features.
On the collab records alone.
Exactly.
You know,
so,
I mean, alone, people
and during that period, it's like, we thinking to get a collab, you need like big bags, and you know, like it just seems like something so like impossible to achieve. So my question is, what do you think is lacking now? Because someone has to take the risk, like going forward, so that things can switch. Because otherwise, the game is going to remain stagnant, or like exactly where it's at. So if you were to point something out personally, what would you think?
Firstly, obviously, the one we always harp on, structure, right? Man, we are playing today. We're playing games. These are jokes.
Venek words, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what I mean?
He's
like,
capable.
If you look at other industries, like even
He just said Tule Buta. Oh man, you gotta love Critic, man. Shout out to him.
In the trip I took to SA, and I just saw the structure and the spaces that structure creates for even subcultures. You know what I mean? I was hanging out with one of the DJs from Black Motion. So I went to a club where he was playing, and he was like, yo, you want to perform? All right. And I was like, can I? He's like, yeah, we can, like, there's, you know, and you can even tell the crowd is willing and ready for something new. Right. Structure, man. We are flying blind. We've been flying blind for a long time. From somewhere after the Mondo Music era, we've been flying blind. It's been the wild, wild west out here. You know what I mean? This is what leads to cliques forming. This is what leads to the rinse and repeat of the same faces all over again. No disrespect, man. Get your bread, boo boo. You know what I mean? Like no disrespect to anyone. It's just like you said, we need a breadth and depth to it. You know what I mean? And the thing that I feel is going to bring that outside of structure is risk. We need to be willing to take way more risks than we are taking. You know what I mean? It's like I've got this phrase. I say we're playing the game on easy. You know what I mean? Like if it was a video game.
You know what the problem is, eh? We are way too comfortable because just because my Zambian folks know me, oh man, I've made it in life. You feel me? Yeah, that's one pie of the puzzle, but you got to have the spirit. I love Nigerians, man. They have this spirit of just wanting to take over the world, man. Like they are never satisfied with what. Like yes, they know they've conquered Nigeria, right? But their spirit still tells them to go outside, you know. That's why they're doing what they're doing, because those people ain't comfortable, man. There was a podcast I watched on Sri Lanka's page, man. You gotta watch out. He was interviewing one of the Nigerians, man. He said they never sleep, bro. They never sleep. They might have a heat today, right? That won't take them into a comfortable position and say, "Oh man, I'm popping." They work tirelessly, man. They never sleep, you know. So I feel I concur with what Critic is saying, you know. So we are just way too uneasy, you know. We are on easy, like really on the easiest settings ever. So yeah,
I feel like we're
Need to
playing
take
on
it up
the
a notch.
easiest setting. We need to take risks if we need to go out there and establish ourselves. Sampa the Great is taking risks. You know what I mean?
shout outs to Sampa, man. Shout outs to Sampa. You know, I feel we don't give her flowers enough. You feel me? Like, I feel we don't appreciate her enough. I feel we don't support her enough. I feel we love where like, I don't know, man, but I feel it doesn't matter. I feel like we segregate too much, you know, just because she does her music in English most of the times, right? It's just now that she started adding a little bit of some dialect here and there. But just because she does music in English doesn't mean she's not that's not Zambian music, you feel me? It's done by a Zambian she's probably like an half caste, you know. So if you hear this, should be like along the interview, you know, where Critic talks about it should be Chandambao talks about why South African is where they are today, right? Because they support their own, despite, you know, South Africa is probably like, it has different sides of creators. You find, let's say, there'll be artists like Nasty C, there'll be artists like Zulu, there'll be artists like KO, there'll be like all these people. They have different dialect to them. You feel me? That's why you find them navigating through the faces of and breaking boundaries, because they support each and every one of their own. It doesn't matter what you sing, whatever language you're using, man, but they support their own. But for us, it feels like we really choose, you know, like, nah, that sounds foreign. We'll support this. You feel me? And look at Sampa, man. She's breaking boundaries. She's doing the most, going against all odds. Yo, do you know what it takes just to go outside and create a show with people from outside, people who are not your own? You feel me? Like, it's a different type of vibe. But I think I probably relate with her, because you'll find most of our analytics, right, are people who are streaming her music, are people from probably outside the most. You feel me? You'll find Zambians only stream, like, are probably not the most people who stream her stuff. So it makes sense for her to even go tour outside, you see? So let's show up, man. Let's show up.
And you pack a bunch of people on the thing and you go there and you're going to do the show over there. And, you know, those are the risks. We're very comfortable in this environment because we sort of hacked it and how it works for us, you know? But the second we cross that border, we are mediocre. You know what I mean? And that's, I feel like we need to level up in that aspect. You know, over here it's like, cool, man, we're used to it. You know what I mean? Guys feel, yeah, you know what I mean? It's my home, you even buy me a dope.
Yeah.
But the second you cross the border, it's like, it's an away game. And they'll see the holes in your defense, bro. They will see, and we've been seeing this thing happening.
The counterattacks are fast.
Yeah, it's not easy out there. Even just to go out there and to hear that, especially in my genre, to hear that people out there don't really know the MCs here.
Yeah, true.
You know, like we spend so much time listening to what's outside there. Why don't they also know us? You know, what are we doing wrong? We're not taking enough risks. We're not making enough music that's, you know what I mean? That's got that thing that'll get people like, damn, he really said that, or he really did that, you know? That's my take on it. We just need a little bit more risk and a little bit more structure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I tend to agree with those sentiments, and perhaps somewhat adjacent to this idea of structure. Because, I mean, I talk about that one a lot. Obviously, I've had some conversations with certain people in this room about that topic before. But I guess adjacent to that, and perhaps slightly more directly, I think access to commercial opportunity is a big one. Because, what in my assessment, having spent like the time I've spent here, it's not for a lack of talent. It's not even for a lack of the diversity among the talent. You know, we have kids that can do whatever, you know, kids that can rap, kids that can sing, kids that can do both, kids that can do like incredible Afrobeat but in vernac, kids that can do Afrobeat in English or whatever, you know what I mean? We have a lot, but what there is missing, and this is something that, you know, as musicians, I think we all must relate to on some level, is, you know, music. One thing that I like to tell kids is music is actually a capital intensive pursuit.
No,
you know what I mean?
Trust me, music is really, really demanding, especially your pocket. It's really demanding, man. Like, it's insane, man. It's really insane. If you don't have the backing, man, it's blood, sweat, and tears that you gotta put in, man. That's why I say sometimes people think talent alone is enough. Nah, it's not, man. It's really not. Look at, I'll give the likes of Mordecai, right? That kid is talented, man. Like, really, really talented. Trust me. But with the help of what Kazadi is doing, man, he's adding some fire to that, you feel me? So it goes now sight on sight, you feel me? So really, music is really something that is really demanding, you know? So you gotta be strategic, you gotta work hard also. It's not just the talent alone that will get you there, man, but your hard work too. You need to put in your hard work. Investing in your craft, man. You know, where you're investing thousands and thousands minus having to get nothing from it in those 10 years, 5 years, you are just investing, you know. At some point, I felt like just like quitting the whole thing, you feel me? Just like giving up and just like letting this whole thing slide, because I keep on just giving this stuff money all the time. But you know, the passion that I have for it is it's kind of different, man. And I really have hopes. And now, with the way of things are moving, man, the future is bright. The future is bright, man. Like, people are coming through. I am getting number of streams from different types of countries, man. Like, it's really showing. You feel me? I could be 5 years ago, just 3 years ago, I could be getting 10 streams, 5 streams from a song, 3 streams, not being added to a Spotify. But now we're being added to Spotify playlists. Now we're getting like thousands and thousands of streams now. You feel me? Now the goal is getting to millions of streams. But here's the game again, though. The streams are just a part of the game, the chart also. There's the bigger game to this, you feel me? Because the Spotify numbers, streams, whatever, those are just like, it's more like a resume for you. You feel me? Like, because people from the outside come to check these sites for you. It's more like a profile, like how you're doing, how you're pushing, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, more to what he said.
No one talks about, it when you're starting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's like image sold that, like,
Dreams.
Yeah, it's the lottery. The image that's projected is this lottery that you just like accidentally blow up, and then after that moment, everything's okay. But I want to tell all the kids that, in my view anyway, that's not how it works. Don't bank on that, nor should that even necessarily be how it works, you know? So it's a capital intensive thing, and I think to sustain that and to be able to create the structure and create and plug in and amplify the stuff that we want to see, we need the commercial opportunities to be able to reinvest in this. Because, and I know firsthand, man, I'm fully self-funded. So all the videos, all that stuff that you guys have ever seen of me, that's my own pocket. And so that's how it so, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking about the kid who doesn't have what I have, bro. I'm like, this is impossible. Like, if I'm tired, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you see what I'm saying? Like, it's really exhausting. Trust me. Like, it's really exhausting to a point whereby some people will be telling you, just quit it, man. Just quit it. Like, it's not worth it. Trust me. When they hear the amounts of money that you spend in the whole music biz, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That kid doesn't stand a chance. No, see, like, seriously. So we need to fix that. Like,
but how do we go about fixing something like that, though? Do you think we need to make ourselves more marketable, I guess, to organizations and people who can actually fund and pump money into something like that?
Yeah. So funny enough, I've literally just come from a conversation with someone who places music at like a major I guess, production company in the US. Because, so it's a thing, anyway, I'll talk about it without names, but something that I've always prioritized and like tried to do, and, you know, with limited success, admittedly, but it's something I always try and do, is I always try and push Zambian music to any tastemaker I've ever met. So, I make these little playlists. I'll put like 10, 12, 15 songs. I've spoken to a guy who was like head of one of the departments of music at Spotify, head of one of the departments of music at YouTube, somebody who places music for Disney. You know, I've spoken to these random people, and I always find a way and say, hey, just listen to this music and tell me what you think. And my thinking has always been, what I do, I'll take like I say, 10, 12, 15 songs of different people from different types of Zambian music, because my whole thing is I don't care what they like as long as something. As long as they like something. Even if it's me, I don't care. But if one person can just
open the door,
at least, you know what I'm saying, we can find a way that number 2, then number 3, then eventually, you know what I'm saying,
opens the door, and then
you know
everyone can go in.
So one of the avenues that I think, like, to get very specific or concrete about what you're asking, I think that synchronization is a huge opportunity. Because the reason I say
Sync. Remember what I said in the first place? Streaming is just a part of it. There's another pie where this is now the ball game. You feel me? So the Spotify numbers, whatever, this just shows how much people gravitate towards your music. So these people are saying, oh, okay, this guy, this artist has some buzz, you know. So why are people listening to this artist, right? Then now they start to dive deep. So what he's trying to say, I think he'll explain a little, but let me just dive a little bit in my own perspective, right? It's sync is a whole different ballgame. This is where your music is now placed in movies, you know, your music is placed in an advert. Like, remember some of the greats when she got featured in one of MTN's, her music got featured in one of MTN's ads. Yeah, that's sync. Remember when some of the greats' music got featured in Black Panther? That's sync. For her, that bag will stay as long as that movie keeps streaming, man. She'll keep on getting a check each and every 6 months, twice a year. You feel me? After 6 months, she gets paid. After 6 months, she gets paid for 20-something years. You feel me? That's a different type of flex. And it's different from the streaming numbers. The streaming numbers, and unless if you're doing billions and millions of streams, you can depend on that. But if you're not doing those numbers, it's wild, right? It's wild. So sync is a different ballgame. It doesn't require you to have a certain amount of numbers or whatever. As long as the song type matches or sits well with the movie or whatever scene that they're trying to create, yeah, well to do, you know. So sync also being played, like, let's say on international radios. It's just sad that the Zambian scene were just way back when it comes to tech. Our friends, when your music is played on radio, you get paid. Whatever spins, like, it's a big deal. Do you know how hard it is to get on American radio? It's crazily hard, man. Cause once your songs are getting spinned, that's money. You feel me? That's money on that side. Here, your song can play 1,000, 1,000,000 times, my G, but all you get is exposure. That's all. So for our friends that side, like, the moment your song gets on radio, count yourself to be, you know, a bowling type, you know. So sync is also a different ball game, and I'm praying that we get there as soon as possible, man. Like, if your stuff is on radio, then you know you're popping. If your stuff gets played outside, you know that you gotta get that bag. People give you your bag. Let's go more to what he's saying.
Say that is because, you know, a lot of the conversations that happen about music and African music often have to do with numbers. And something like sync doesn't require numbers. It just requires very solid art and organization and connecting with people and submitting the art.
That's actually dope that you brought that up, because a lot of people actually think numbers translate to getting synced into different positions, like music-wise. It's not about that.
No, less so.
Yeah, it's back to, like you said, it's back to the music, man. It's back to the music. You can clothe it the way you want to clothe it. You can put the biggest videos if you want to say, you know what I mean? But at the end of the thing, all those are just promos for a song. And if the song ain't good, you know what I mean? Like, there's only so far you can go promoting it. You know, good for you, promo the thing. But in 2 weeks, will I think about this? And there's a reason for that, because there's these songs we see that are charting for weeks and blah, 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 blah. 6 people sat in a room and made sure that song was that song. You know, you punch your way through 3 verses, got a guy to mix the thing for you, and you send it out. You put it on the DSPs, right? They hear it and they're like, ah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the song. The song is the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, ah.
I like it because that's like a good segue.
So more to what he's saying, right? There's doing a music video is it's expensive, man. When you want a very high standard video, like let's say DJ Low type of video, man, you gotta spend 20 going above, 15 going above, whatever, 10 going above. So it's a little bit expensive, especially when you're coming up. That's why the likes of TikTok, whatever, the Reels, Instagram, whatever, they've made stuff a little bit easier now, right? Instead of you spending all that money, you rather just spend, let's say, 1,000, do a performance video, all right? Do a performance video that you will end up cutting at least into some different pieces and splash them on socials. Instead of you spending a huge chunk of money that by the end of the day will make you because I feel now music videos are for people who have a larger audience, a larger fan base, because it helps you, because you know, as you're doing those things, right, you expect your money in return, investments, right? So as you put in whatever you're putting in, you expect a return. You put in, you expect a return. So when you're coming up to this thing, it's really hard, man. It's really hard. So that's what I'm saying. Just like you said, right? There's like a whole, when you see all this successful stuff, there's different people who sit in different arenas. I'll give an example again of Mordecai, right? He has a whole different management now. So Kazadi Music is the one pushing everything. They'll do everything in their power to get their stock back. Whatever that they're investing in him, they'll do anything to push whatever stuff so that they get their money back. You feel me? So it's a whole different ball game that we are all to play. You know, you gotta be smart. Don't just complain saying you don't have the money, man. Find the means you can just, you know, that's what I'm saying. Use whatever that you have, right? You don't have to come on the scene with a very expensive video now. Unless if you have the funding for it, oof, cheers to you. But if you don't, man, you gotta hustle. You gotta go in and just find ways you can do it. I think for me, that's the route I've taken. You feel me? Like I do all these performance videos, and by the end of the day, I get to spend a little bit less than I spent. Because most of you saying you want an official video, and if you want an official video from me, please, you gotta stream those numbers, man. Those numbers gotta go up, because by the end of the day, it has to be paying for itself. You feel me? It has to pay. It has to start paying for itself. So I'm doing whatever I can in my power to give you whatever I can, whatever I'm managing. You feel me? So if the numbers keep on growing, trust me, you start seeing a whole different ball game. And trust me, I have plans for that.
Into my next question that I want to ask. Both of you have emphasized the importance of structure. Structure. What do you guys think of the way music is being released? Because times have changed now, right? Like a hit can come off something like TikTok, and that's like what, 30, 25 seconds, and next thing you know, it's a continental sensation. Next thing you know, you're touring. Like there's so many ways and different avenues for songs to blow up now. So that begs the question, like, the game has changed in that aspect, because I mean back then it was like, you know, the song is ready, you market the song, you make sure it goes to the right DJs. Do you feel like the system for that has changed? Is that like a dying art now? Because I know I know DJs, for a lack of a better term, who make piano records, who just produced a record in their room, and right now they tour it globally, like they touring, and this is off like one record, and you know, luckily they put it up on TikTok, a challenge caught fire, next thing you know, everybody's doing it. You know, so now everybody is following that way of doing things, because I mean, as a people, that's how we function. If I see someone doing something, I'm like, oh, he did it like this and like that, I'm thinking if I do it the exact same way,
it's gonna work out.
Then it's gonna work out. So in terms of the Zambian context, with releasing music and how it's made available on DSPs, I bring this up. In fact, let me start with you, Chanda, because I know, like, I've seen a couple of videos. You've been very vocal about how people access the music. You've been very vocal about them getting it the right way, so the artist can get not only recognition but actually get paid off the music that they're putting up. Because, you know, we all know there's sites where, you know, music is just put up illegally, and you know, you find that it's got like a couple of thousand and, you know, thousands of downloads, but it's not done the right way through the right channels, so the artist doesn't have access for them to get the payment of that. So I know you've been very vocal about that. So I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about where the game is now, especially with the DSPs that have come on board? It's a big thing now, especially in Zambia, because now, like, you know, people will tell you that if they're putting something out, they'll choose a particular platform that works for them as a creative, because they know this is where they're going to get their return for what they put into the project. So where do you think it's at right now? Do you think it's in a good place? Obviously there's always room for improvement, but like personally, like, where do you think it's at right now in terms of like music rollouts, dropping music and everything like that?
Well, I mean, as for me, the frustration that I've had is not even because I think, you know, depending on how you assess the music industry at large.
And I think more to what he's saying, right? Let me just, sorry, Chanda, but let me just, you know, answer the big man's question, you know. Yeah, so I feel we're slowly getting there, right? Because now everybody is enlightened, and we're now getting this whole thing now whereby everybody now, you know, it's a big thing now being on these platforms now. I remember back in the day when, shout out to the mystery man, when we used to advocate to, especially our close friends, like, yo, you need to have your music on this DSPS, like, you need to have your music there, you know, da. But to them, it didn't make sense because back in the day, it was really hard. So let's say Spotify, Apple Music, these things were not in Z by then, you feel me? So it was really, really hard, like just having people to stream your stuff. And you'll find that now, at least, you know, we have the likes of the Spotify's here, Apple Music in Zambia now, even Boomplay now is in Zambia, even Audiomack now is in Zambia now, you feel me? So all these things were really like critical back in the day, but now we are moving in a different space where it's now conducive for people to stream stuff, right? Back in the day, you would only rely on these blogs where you have to put your music there, right? Like, oh no, and you get 20,000, 50,000 downloads, but what you get in return? Exposure. What does exposure do for you? You answer that. So yeah, so you find it was really like, really hard, man, really hard. That's why today I don't condone people who come to me and say, can you send me a song on WhatsApp? What? Dude, like what? Where can I download your song from? Oh yeah, Apple Music, Spotify, Boomplay even made it way easy. Audiomack made it way easy. You feel me? You find back in the day, people consume stuff like, let's say if an artist from the outside, they'll find ways to go and consume stuff, YouTube, whatever. And if it's because it's a Zambian artist, you feel like you got the guts just to go feel and download the song of the DSPS, right? But yeah, even the artists ourselves, I feel we have a huge responsibility, to like the part of our blame, we also to be blamed for it, right? Like we made our fans more comfortable or made them used to downloading free stuff because that was our way of trying to get exposure, kind of, if I can put it that way, you know. So we made it, we made them kind of used to it, you feel me? So, but now I feel like things are changing and people have to go and consume stuff on these DSPS platforms, you feel me? So more to what the gents are saying.
You know, and there's a lot of different opinions about how best to monetize music, but I guess probably as a matter of fact and statistically speaking, even if you look at the largest acts in the world and the most formalized market in the world, the minority of their earnings come from music sold as content. You know, so largely speaking, strategically, you know, if you're taking your career as an artist seriously, you probably you don't necessarily want to underwrite your career based on selling of music. It's unlikely that that'll be your primary source of income. Right?
Won't be a better.
So that is a foregone conclusion. There's then debates about, I guess, how to monetize, right? But my whole frustration has not necessarily been about the monetary aspect. I mean, that is a consideration for me because obviously, like I say, ultimately we need to, if we're gonna invest in these systems and gonna keep doing what we do, we have to be
money needs to keep coming in.
But my frustration on the content side of things is more about a digital footprint. What frustrates me about the Zambian ecosystem is that we're not fully digitized yet. So I would argue that we're like maybe 10 years behind the advanced economies, because there was a time where the biggest song, and this is just a few years ago.
Before he says this, right, I totally relate. The mystery can back me up. I totally relate because there were times when you hear one of the biggest songs, right, buzzing, huge. Check it out. Not on Spotify, not on Apple Music. None of these platforms. It's only on free sites. There was a song in South Africa that blew off, if you know King Monada, right? Where people were collapsing. That song blew so much that even the outside international market started, like the international fan base started using that song, right? Like it went viral. It really went viral. Coming to find out, people were trying to search for the song and it wasn't on Spotify, it wasn't on Apple Music, it was only on YouTube. It was uploaded by just a fan or whatever. And it was something that hit me saying, damn, so this guy is missing out on a lot of stuff, right? Like he's missing out on a lot. Because people are searching for it on Spotify, Apple Music, those were numbers. But I think he got a bit, if I can say, a little bit saved, but it was a bit too late though. It should be by Warner Music or Sony Music. Then they signed him SAP, you know, and yeah, that's how the content was put up on the platforms, and later on they showed a video. So I relate with what is going to say.
And I don't want to call anyone out, but like the biggest song in the country wasn't on Spotify. This is a song that plays in every bar, always on the radio, and this thing is not on Spotify. I'm like, bro, this, so there's a disconnect. It's like we live in this like other world, and the rest of the world doesn't know we exist. You know what I mean? So for me, priority number one was telling everybody, consume Zambian music digitally, and Zambian artists, make sure your stuff is there, so that your song, whatever genre it is, I don't care if it's, I'm not saying anything about no English one, no. I'm just saying all of you. Sure forget all those other debates. Yeah. All of you Zambian artists, your song should be there. And we need that digital footprint because that makes us more marketable. We can sell as a music industry out there. People are aware of the stuff. The TikTok challenge actually makes some sense. You know, like right now, actually, more than like 5 of my favorite Zambian songs ever are not on DSP. Like, wow. Yeah, okay. and these are like songs which are big songs. You know what I'm saying? And
so you see what I'm talking about, right? There you have it. It's the same.
That's an issue, you know what I mean? Because it means we're getting left behind in the new digital music economy. So that's my primary frustration, because it means we're not in the ecosystem. We're not in the structure that the rest of the world is using as a portal for music discovery, and therefore the rest of the opportunities that follow on from music consumption. So I think we're a little bit behind, and it's unfortunate, but we're definitely getting there, definitely making a lot of progress. So that's the good side, but that's my characterization.
Wow. Okay.
Man, I don't want to go dive into deep. The conversation is just way too late, and I don't want to make this very long. So I want you guys, I'll leave the tits and beats for your consumption. Go and listen to the whole podcast. It's really, 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 really awesome, you know. So I'll end here for today. I'll end here. If I will need to continue, then probably on a later episode. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. I've been your host, your guy, Popene87. Go hit that smash that follow button, smash the subscribe button, smash whatever you gotta smash, you feel me? Like, comment, leave me a message, and from me and the team, it's bye and peace.